This is the City of Waupaca's City Plan Commission meeting.
We have the public hearing for the special use permit. Yep. That's the First Baptist Church at 1500 Roman Road. It asked for a call to order.
Okay, that's what I'll do then. So
You want to do it?
Yep, I'll do it.
Okay.
This is a public hearing for the First Baptist Church of Waupaca, 1500 Roman Road. And this is to discuss a special use permit. In attendance for commissioners, we have Mayor Brian Smith, Alan Keelan, Eric Olson, John Kinnear, and Pat Fair, and Justin Barons. And then we do have city staff also. Aaron Jensen is here with us too. Anybody else that would have to do with the special use permit that's on?
Jeff Sanders is on. Jeff, I believe. Jeff, are you there? I thought he was on. Jeff, if you're talking, you're on mute. Well, that's all right.
Is Andrew Dane with us?
Andrew's not. Remember, we talked about he's not going to be here tonight. Jeff is, and I thought I saw him. He was on a second ago, so he might have got booted off or something.
All right, so what we need to do then is, like I said, this is just a public hearing, and this is for a special use permit for the First Baptist Church. Who's better prepared to explain this? Is that you, Aaron, or is that Justin?
I can speak to it.
Okay.
So the First Baptist Church is in the R1 zoning district. The special use is for educational purposes. They are looking to do an addition, which you guys will see in the special use and the site plan that we'll talk about later in this agenda. They are adding classrooms and some bathroom facilities. It fits within a special use within the R1 district. I can tell you all landowners, which is not a lot, have been notified in that area. We did get some input actually from Kenneth and Margot Lambert on 1400 Shoemaker Road. And they just had some questions on some cable that was going to be running through what they thought was their property. I think it ended up being that some of their landscaping was actually in the street right of way. So Justin and I were able to communicate with them on that and clear everything up, and they were okay with that. So that's just a little bit on this and the public input we received.
All right, so, normally it's up for only in favor of the special use permit and then testimony in opposition. And Aaron has just indicated that we did just have one couple that had just asked questions, didn't really have any testimony in favor or against. So there is nobody else on that would like to give testimony in favor or against. So
I'm with the First Baptist Church in Waupaca. Can you all hear me?
yeah, what's your name? Can you your name?
So my name is David Snell. I'm the pastor at First Baptist Church. I also have come in the door right now our head of deacons and the heading of our building committee that are watching with us. Our administrator is most likely also on this somewhere, I believe, watching. Anyways, I don't know. I guess we would just state that we're in favor of it since we're the ones building it. I don't know if that's helpful or whatever. We just thought we'd state it.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Did you hear what Aaron had said before that? Does that pretty much sum up what you understand?
Yes.
Okay, good. And you do understand that after we have this public hearing, we're going to go right into our regular City Planning Commission meeting. And once we go into that, then we will discuss the actual special use permit. And if commissioners have any questions, or if you have any questions, that would be the time when you would answer them or ask those.
Thank you much.
Yep. Anybody else then on? I'm sorry, I guess you know, without having people in a room, sometimes it's hard to know who's here and who's not, so. Anybody else that's on? I suppose we have a few people that are watching this on Facebook Live too. And we're not monitoring, I don't think we're monitoring that right now. So any comments that are made there? All right, with nothing else, then I'll declare this public hearing closed at 5:23 p.m. And let's go right into the Planning Commission. And if you noticed in the download on the city website, there were two packets. There was part one and a part two for the Planning Commission. We're going to just start with part one. Pop it up here quick. This is the regular scheduled City Planning Commission meeting. Today is May 6th, 2020, and it's 5:23 p.m. And I'll call this meeting to order. In attendance, again, I think we have Mayor Brian Smith, Justin Behrens, Pat Fair, Alan Keelan, Eric Olson, John Kinnear. So I think, and staff, Aaron Jensen, and I'm not sure if Jeff is on yet, Jeff Sanders. But I think we're still absent Tracy Barrett.
No, I'm here.
All right, awesome. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We're just started.
Mayor Smith, I'm here if you can hear me.
We can. Thanks, Jeff. All right. So let me just set down a little bit of guidelines for tonight. When we make a motion now at the city council meetings, what we've been doing is taking roll call votes for approval of items. And what I'd like to try, and I think I did this with city planning last time, is that when we have a motion and a second, make sure you give your name on who's giving the motion and who's giving the second, and then we'll ask for discussion. And then after that, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask if there's anybody that wants to abstain from the voting on that. And if that's not the case, then we're just going to do a voice vote on that. Okay, so make sure Justin can hear your voice. So we can record that. So it's either going to be obviously aye, nay, or abstain, and you'll have that ability to do that. But we'll do the abstention first. Okay, so you have an agenda in front of you. I don't think there's any additions to that.
Nope.
Okay, so we would need a motion to approve the agenda.
This is Alan. I move to approve.
I'll second, Pat.
Thank you. Motion by Keelan, second by Fair, that we approve the agenda as printed. Any discussion? Anybody that wants to abstain? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Against? Motion carried. All right, our first item then is approval of the Planning Commission minutes for the April 1st, 2020. That is in your packet. Unless you see something that you think we need to discuss, I would just ask that we approve this so we can place them on file.
So move for approval, Pat.
Olson, second.
Motion by Fair, second by Olson, that we approve the minutes from the April 1st, 2020 meeting minutes. Anybody else?
One quick thing, I think I was in attendance there. I don't see me on there. This is John.
I don't think you were, John.
On the,
He was actually.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
that's all right. I don't have perfect attendance anyways. So.
I got you on the sheet, John.
Okay,
Sorry about that, John. I don't know why you weren't put on.
no worries. No worries. Just for the record. Yep.
Even if you're here halftime, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, anybody that's going to abstain? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Against? Motion carried. All right, so next up, the action item, which is the use permit, and I think you need to go to that, part 2,
So this should be on,
or is this still part 1?
part 1. So this should be on page 4. What I have up right now is the report from Jeff Sanders, our zoning administrator, on the special use permit for First Baptist Church. And with him preparing that report, I'll turn it over to Jeff if you're still with us.
I am. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Plan Commission members. So First Baptist Church applied for a special use permit to construct an addition onto their structure. You've seen the report. You have the report in front of you, so I don't think I'll belabor that part of it. Aaron, what I'm doing right now is opening up my own copy so I can scroll, but it doesn't mess up the view that the Plan Commission has. As you'll note at the bottom, my recommendation is approval without conditions. The basis for the without conditions is the requirements of Wisconsin Act 67 that appear on page 2 of my report. I don't see any potential negatives in terms of infrastructure, transportation. They put together a pretty significant landscape plan above and beyond anything that's required within the zoning ordinance. This, unless I'm missing something, this might be one of the easiest special use, conditional use permits I've ever reviewed. And that's a testament to the owners and to the consultants that they hired.
All right, so Jeff Sanders is recommending that we approve this special use permit without any additional conditions. Any commissioners that have any discussion on that or would like to make a motion?
This is Alan. I'll make the motion to approve it.
Tracy, second.
All right, we have a motion by Keelan, second by Barron, that we approve this special use permit without any additional conditions. Any discussion on that? Anybody that plans on abstaining? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Yes. Motion carried. All right, so next up, help me out here.
So next up, we have site plan review for the First Baptist Church. This staff report prepared by our zoning administrator, Jeff, as well, is on page 40 of your packet and is up on the screen right now. What we're going to do here is I'm going to have Jeff take us through his report, and then I'm going to have Justin take us through the strand comments.
And Aaron,
oh, go ahead.
can you hear me okay, Aaron?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh. Jeff, can you hear us? Does not look like it. Okay, so what we were going to do here, and hopefully Jeff can get back on in a second. He's prepared a report on page 40, and then I was going to have Justin go through the strand report or their comments, which is typical of any site plan, and then we were going to go over the actual site plan itself, which has some comments written on it. So with Jeff trying to get back on, why don't we go through the strand comments right now, Justin, and this is probably going to cover a lot of it, if you're prepared to do that right now.
Yep, I'm ready. So in general, mirroring kind of Jeff's comments, it was a very well laid out plan. These comments that are on here are all fairly minor. The plan as it's set would have been biddable, constructible, and a lot of these additions would just help kind of clean up some of the questions on there. You can kind of see the first 4 added street names, include the geotechnical report name, provide the stormwater management document name. That's just for reference so that when a contractor bids this, or puts a quote in, they know that information is available. Number 4 is a pretty important one, though. It's the facility is served by a well and septic. On the plan, they just want to note, or they should note, where that area is going to be, so that when the various contractors are in there working, they do not disturb that area and potentially damage the existing or the future septic tank, which is, Jensen, can you again remind me what's happening with that, the sizing of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so the church needs approval through the county for a septic permit. And there was going to be some tests because of the number of bathrooms and fixtures they're adding as a part of the project. That's something that's not done by the city, but by the county. And they were going to go through some testing in April on usage flows and so on and so forth. While by April, nobody was in any buildings because of our pandemic. And now they're working through some state approved plans. So we've been communicating with the county and the representation at the church, and basically they know that the building permit can't be issued until the septic permit is issued by the county. But we didn't feel like that. We felt like we could go through this entire site plan, and we didn't feel like we had to hold up this process and delay it another month if we knew that possibly that septic permit was going to be issued, sometime this month. So we're going through the site plan approval, but the building permit cannot be issued until that septic permit is issued by the county. So just that's a little background on that.
Yep, thanks.
Yep.
So then moving on, the other couple comments are just asking for clarification in their legend, their line styles. Again, help the contractors build the way it's meant to be built. A note indicating there's a light pole in the middle that should be identified as being removed or salvaged. There is some storm sewer pipe back.
Is now joining.
Just asking for some clarification on that. Asking for some additional spot elevations in the parking lot. A little asking a question on the curbside landscape islands.
Is now exiting.
And then asking for more information on the pipe material for the storm sewer. So basically, like I said, a lot of these are recommendations. They should be implemented into their design plans that would really help First Baptist get a good contractor on board and make sure it's built to what they want to do. And again, there was a comment on the landscaping, which was very well done. And we just made a recommendation to change a couple of the species of the trees to help diversify our urban forest in the area.
Justin, I'm going to pull up just the actual site plan here so people can see as well what the project is going to look like. So it's a little faint here, but this is what I'm circling right now is the current facility, current church and school, and then this will be the addition in this area. Let's see here. We go to a different one. Okay. This shows it a little clearer. So this right here in bold is the new addition. And there's some parking stall additions, I believe, as well. Isn't that correct, Justin?
Yeah, the parking stall increase is pretty significant. And it's good to see they're making quite an improvement to their parking, and that's just to facilitate, I would assume, all the members that are coming, and hopefully they're probably anticipating increasing their membership with this expansion, and the school that's. I believe the schools or classrooms are being added on, several classrooms. So
that's correct. And Justin, just to speak to the parking, you and I had that conversation earlier today. Mr. Hatcher from First Baptist said that they have seating for just over 100 in the church, and for our parking ordinance, that is well within range. I think the amount of parking stalls they have suggests they can have a capacity in their church of 600 plus, and they have under 200, well under 200. So
yeah, yep, correct. So yeah, the parking lot is being expanded substantially.
Here's an outline of the building addition here in the classrooms Justin just spoke to.
I think you guys all got this same chat from Patrick Stalecki, who's the principal here. Patrick, is there anything that you would like to add to this discussion while we're on the actual design of the school? Okay, we'll keep going then, Justin. I'm sorry, maybe we're not catching him.
I'm good. That pretty much wrapped up everything.
Okay, so
as far as civil review goes.
Okay, Jeff Sanders, are you on?
I hope so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can for now. Talk fast.
I apologize. Site plan review, again, you saw the staff report. The recommendations I was making are approval. Again, they put together a very good, very well landscaped plan. It's compliant with all the requirements. I think the previous speaker attested to the size of the facility and the parking area and such. I wish I could offer more comments other than to say well done, and I recommend approval.
All right. Okay, so hearing that, what we're looking for is a approval of the site plan review for the First Baptist Church. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Motion to approve. Alan, second.
Motion by Olson, second by Keelan, that we approve the site plan review for First Baptist Church at 1500 Roman Road. Any discussion?
This is John Kinnear. I just really do want to echo the level of detail that was put into the plan set. I would hope to see more submittals like this in the future from other groups too. It really paints a very clear picture for us on the Plan Commission, so thank you.
Brian, can I?
Yes, go ahead, Pat.
Brian, I just wanted to remind ourselves as commissioners, upon approval, assuming we move forward, where does the Baptist group stand once we approve the site plan?
So Pat, site plan then gets approved at the council level. Let's see here. Which would be May 19th. And then that would be their final approval and they can move forward after that point.
Does that include the permit that you were referring to earlier by the county, or will they still have to wait on that?
No, special use would have to get approved at that point too.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Questions, discussion? Anybody from the Baptist Church that would like to weigh in? All right, anybody that plans on abstaining? If not, we'll vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. For those of you that are from the First Baptist Church, thank you for being on tonight. Appreciate it, and good luck to you. I'm sure Aaron or Justin will be in contact with you sometime later this week yet.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming on.
All right, next up, we have the permanent zoning placement for the Fable property. It's Scott Fable, and it's on Grand Seasons Drive, and this is also in ordinance format. And
Okay, and now we're moving to the second packet that was on the website. zoning. And the ordinance is on page 45 of the second packet. And it's on the screen now. Jeff, do you want to speak to the, a lot of echo. Jeff, do you want to speak to the ordinance to change the permanent zoning to, I believe it's B4. I think we're going from the temporary zoning A1 to B4, which fits the rest of that area. And maybe Jeff may not be with us again.
Jeff, you still with us? We're gonna have to get that guy some Waupaca online.
It looks as though Jeff, there goes.
Yeah, sorry about that. There's I think Microsoft and Apple don't get along very well together, not shocking. The staff report, section 3, focuses on the comprehensive plan consistency requirement as required under state law. As you notice, the comp plan describes it as generalized areas that are desirable for city expansion in the long term. The nuts and bolts is the B4 district is compatible and consistent with the comprehensive plan. So once that decision is made, once the determination of consistency has been made, the approval is kind of a foregone conclusion. I don't mean to be cavalier about that, but that meets that checkbox requirement under state law. Were it to go into some other district or proposed for some other district, it may require an amendment to the future land use map of the comp plan, but this is good to go. It's the direction that the future land use wants the zoning decision to go.
Thanks, Jeff. So as you understand the ordinance format, it needs to be recommended council, and then there'll be first and second reading of that ordinance. On the council agenda.
If just a quick note, if anyone is joining from their phone and they're also on the computer, can you please turn your computer volume down? I think that may be causing some echo right now. I appreciate it.
Another good thing to do is just to mute if you are not talking or don't want to talk.
So, Brian, are we looking for a motion on the permanent zoning in this particular case?
Yeah, we're looking for permanent zoning through this ordinance, so we're asking for you to recommend this ordinance to the city council.
I'll make a motion that we accept the ordinance. I don't happen to have the number in front of me, but it's the permanent zoning placement for the Scott Fable property.
Right. We have a motion by Fair.
Tracy Beer will second.
Second by Tracy Barron, that we recommend the council ordinance number 05/2020, which is placing a permanent zoning classification on lands annexed to the city of Waupaca, more specifically on Grand Seasons Drive. Any discussion there? If not, anybody that wants to abstain or is going to abstain? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. All right, next then we have a special use permit for that same property. And where are we going here?
So this is going to go to Jeff again as well. I just wanted to say, so we're bringing this permanent zoning forward at the same time as a special use permit. Both are kind of contingent upon each other, although through our review, we see no problems with either. And I'll let Jeff speak to the special use portion of this property.
All right, once again, unmuted. Hope I can be heard.
You're good.
The comprehensive plan's consistent, as we mentioned before, with the permanent zoning. And I wrote generally consistent because if you notice the language in the comprehensive plan for the commercial expansion land use category says best suited for commercial use. The use proposed by Fable Lease is actually an industrial use. but it's compatible with the zoning ordinance. So that's the reason you get the generally consistent statement. In terms of the actual uses itself, everything that is currently ongoing on that property and by that business is compliant with the special use requirements in the B4 district. And as I scroll down to the back end of the report, you'll see the limited number of conditions I put on. Again, ever since Act 67 was adopted, the ability to place conditions on things like special uses has been severely curtailed. So what we're looking for is things that are going to meet the statutory requirements under Act 67.
You can hear from Jeff's report, he is recommending that we approve this special use permit. Do we have a motion?
This is Pat. I'll make a motion that we accept the special use permit for the Scott Fable Grand Seasons Drive.
Olson, second.
Motion by Ferris, second by Olson, that we approve of the special use permit for Scott Fable on Grand Seasons Drive. Any discussion? Anybody that plans on abstaining? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carries. All right, next up then is the site plan review for that same property.
You guys see a report on page 78 of this second packet, which is on your screen now. Again, we'll do a similar thing to what we did with the church. We'll go with Jeff and we'll go with Justin on the Strand comments, and then we will show you the map. But Jeff, go ahead and speak to your report.
Sure. The key difference here with or between this proposal and the church proposal is that the use itself is more intensive and potentially more problematic with respect to the adjoining uses. So we have a use that is industrial by nature, surrounded by lots of residential, lots of development. So you see the recommendations that I put together on page 3 are oriented around diminishing the possibility or reducing the negative impacts associated with that use. So visual buffering and making sure that the uses which are by the owner's statement to be wholly contained within the structure, we just want to make sure that there's no externalities involved. So if there's welding going on and the door opens up and someone's 25, 40, 50 feet away happens to be looking at it that way, looking in that direction, we don't want any issues resulting from that, if that makes sense. So my recommendations are basically to diminish the possibility of or the potential for offsite impacts from the proposed use.
And a table on the yeah, there was somebody.
I think Jack, from Martinson and Isley, are you still there?
Sorry, yeah, I was having trouble hearing before. Yeah, I'm online. I'm the engineer who designed the external site plan with Martinson and Isley. We also are the firm that did the architectural designs, but the architect couldn't be on tonight. I'm here to answer any questions that anyone might have.
I guess I have a question for you, only in that you've seen, I'm assuming you've seen the site plan review and you see the recommendations that Jeff Sanders is recommending that we approve tonight. Are you okay with those?
Yeah, I don't know when those were sent out. I haven't seen an email copy of that. If they were mailed out, they might be at my office, and I'm working from home right now. So I only saw them today when I pulled up the packet. From the brief look through, I didn't see any comments that we wouldn't be able to meet, but I have not had a chance to start making any of those revisions yet.
Yeah, well, if we approve it tonight, this is final tonight. So I guess if you do find some issues, obviously contact Aaron or Jeff, and and let's work through it. But otherwise, we'll assume that you're okay with those.
Yeah, and we'll do our best to meet the comments.
All right, thanks. And then Jeff, you were finished?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I am.
Okay, so Justin, you're up next.
Yeah. So again, very similar comments to the last one, asking for a few additional informational items to be added to the plans, the geotechnical report. Again, a DNR question. The two main, I guess, comments that were included with the plan review. One was they have a storm sewer pipe that runs along the north side of the building, and they had that end wall inside of our ditch. We asked them to pull that back and have that included just within the private property, and then it can drain into the public ditch. The other one is they will have to shut Grand Seasons Drive down to make the connection to sewer and water. And we just ask that they get that work done within 1 day, to contact the Public Works Department before they get going, contact the Police Department and Fire Department, give them at least a 1 week notice before they're going to be shutting that road down, so we can help coordinate that closure with them and reduce the impact to the surrounding public. So those were the two big things. Other than that, just a few minor plan notes they should add to it. And Jensen's showing the sheet that the kind of the main plan sheet showing the comments that were there in red, kind of detailing the two main things with cutting into the road and then also that storm sewer pipe.
You have these recommendations that you're making, you have made sure that they understand these recommendations.
Can you say that again, Mayor? Sorry.
I'm just saying that if these are recommendations that are coming from Strand and you're relaying that information to us, I'm assuming that you also relayed this information to Fables.
I am not aware if they have received this prior to tonight.
Okay, so again, I think I would go back to, sorry, what's the guy's name? Jack. Jack, Jack, do you have any comments on what Justin has just talked about?
No, and I had a chance to look through that just before the meeting, so I haven't been able to revise any of our plans to meet these comments, but from what it looks like, all of them would be things that we can make revisions to meet.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you. Justin, thank you. Jeff, thank you. So we would be recommending then the site, we'd like to have you recommend site plan approval for this property. Anybody would like to make that motion?
Pat, I'll make a motion that we accept the site plan as printed or pointed out.
Olson, second.
Motion by Fair, second by Olson, that we approve or recommend to council the site plan for the Fable property on Grand Seasons Drive. Any discussion?
The only thing I'll add is just to kind of Pat's question on the first one. This process, there will be a first and a second reading on the things that Fable is bringing forward. Special use permanent zoning, permanent zoning, first and second reading. So May 19th, it'll come to council, but then final approval will happen on June 2nd if everything follows in line. So that's what we're looking at for final approval of everything we're looking at for Fable here.
Just, sorry, Brian, I'm just going to comment then that the people who put the plans together, Jack, who's online, that should give him plenty of time to make any changes or adjustments that are necessary before it gets to council.
Good comment. Okay, anybody else? Anybody that plans on abstaining? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Against? Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you for that on the, I think that's it for the Fable property. Let's go on to resolution number 1449.
This is Justin on, it's a right-of-way at Old Bank First. This is something we actually probably could have done when Bank First kind of came through with their site plan approval. Didn't happen at that point, so we're doing it after the fact. I guess really doesn't affect anything here. It's just an administrative cleanup. Justin, do you have anything else you want to say to this, the vacation of this alley?
Well, the intention, you're right, from the beginning was to vacate this alley, and we're just putting that into motion now. It was first brought to council as an initial resolution to take it to Plan Commission for discussion and review. Tonight, the resolution is the final resolution, which we would then recommend back to council for adoption at the next council meeting. And upon approval by council, then that right away or that alley would be vacated, and all that land would split in half, goes to Bank First, which, as you remember from the plan review, that's being used as their parking lot, as their driveway. It's been that way historically. So there's really no use as a public right of way for this to remain as is. So.
All right, so just a cleanup of the map really is what we're doing here. It's been many years. There's only a few of us old fogies that can remember that there used to be a need for that alley, and there isn't anymore. So we would need a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, this is Alan. I'm a little confused about the numbering of it. The agenda calls it 1449, but the memo calls it 1448.
Yeah, Alan, good catch. It should be 1449. We're not quite sure. Must be a typo, or we're not sure why 1448 was in there. So 1449 is our final resolution.
In that case, I will move to approve, or move that we recommend council approval 1448.
Tracy Barrett, second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Keelan, second by Barrett, that we approve or recommend to council resolution number 1449. This is a resolution just to discontinue right-of-way located in the city of Waupaca, more specifically the Bank First national property. Any discussion?
Brian, I just have a question. About a year, well, it wasn't a year ago, quite a few months ago, we had site plans and quite a discussion with Bank First in terms of their addition and renovations. Has this kind of been holding up that process, or does it have anything to do with their internal renovation?
This has not held that process up. They are starting about a month later than they anticipated. They had some bidding that was a little higher than they expected, plus some of this COVID-19 stuff pushed it off a little bit. They were unable to get all the materials they needed. So they are looking to start hopefully at the end of May, they said, possibly early June is the last I talked to Phil Plogman from Bank First.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion? Anybody that plans on abstaining? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Against? Motion carried. All right, I think that's it for action items. Let's go to discussion items, and this has to do with the comprehensive plan and zoning code update.
Right now, the comprehensive plan, Andrew's working on a market study that's going to go along with his housing, and also kind of plays into the big box retail on West Fulton Street. So he's working on finishing that up. He's going to bring something forward at our next plan commission meeting. So you guys will get to hear from him then. Jeff, do you have anything from a zoning code update standpoint that you want to do? I know you've been working on the rewrite. Where are you at on that?
The rewrite of the zoning ordinance is about 80, maybe 85% complete. We're still on track for a May 18th working session with the Plan Commission. We're just trying to figure out if that's going to be something conducive to an online format, or if we wait a couple weeks and try to do it in person. So that'll be something that Aaron and I kind of talk through.
Thank you, Jeff. So we're not sure about May 18th yet, as far as there's no important reason for the May 18th. I mean, I know we have a council meeting on the 19th, so you're not necessarily looking for approval on the 19th.
No.
Of May anyways. So, yeah, let's just play it by ear then. Okay, and then just for planning commission members, I think this is pretty cool, but when we talked about the comprehensive plan and the zoning code, you know, we're doing a lot of this because we're looking to do some hopefully future economic development in what I call some blighted areas that, you know, like the old Kmart property and the Shopko property. And actually at the city council meeting last night, unanimously, council approved expanding the TID outside of the TID boundaries by a half mile, which then will encompass most of those properties on West Fulton Street, which should help us if we do have a developer that does come forward. So we're looking forward to that. They also did approve doing that in the downtown area too. So we might be able to help some downtown area businesses too to do some expansions or improvements too. So that was a good step forward in what we're trying to do here. And as I said, council members are aware of this, but we just wanted to make sure planning commission members, all of you, had heard that too. All right, let's go on then. We have under reports, we have the building permits, the code enforcement status report, and the development update.
So real briefly, I'll just give some updates on building permits lately. We've seen a lot of home renovation type things happening with maybe a result of people being home. So there's been a lot of building permits for that. Code enforcement, what we've been doing is we've received some complaints. We've followed up with letters and contacting the individuals that the complaint was about. We have not been sending people directly into homes or anything like that. And we've been just saying that we will follow up kind of as things subside here with the COVID-19 thing. So that's kind of how we've been handling code updates. Nothing, or code enforcement, nothing too crazy to report there as far as what we've heard. We've got a couple that we're working through, but nothing noteworthy. And then development updates, you know, I have a couple things I kind of just want to mention. Is a lot of our conversations the last few weeks have been just dealing with our and working with our current business owners through our current situation, just hearing from them. Some of those conversations kind of resulted in the thing that Mayor just spoke to as well, as far as tools we can do to possibly help current businesses during this time. Also wanted to just mention a couple things on housing. So housing's been a big focus of ours in conversations with our community partners, whether it's us in the school district, chamber, large employers, whoever it may be, specifically workforce housing. And we got some kind of exciting news out of WHEDA, Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority. They came out with their housing tax credit program. And this year at the December 1 deadline, they're putting a lot of weight on if a project happens within communities under 10,000 people and has a large employer. Well, that fits us pretty well. And even a more exciting component of that is that we've had a developer that's reached out to us and has interest in looking at sites here and submitting a proposal. So we've been able to meet with her, and they've recently done some things in the valley, and we're just kind of looking at a tool that we recently developed on sites that may make sense on here in the city. So hopefully we can get a project submitted and we get some workforce housing in it. Right now they're thinking somewhere around 40 units in whatever they may propose. So, and then on top of that, I just heard actually in the last week that 13 lots were purchased out in the Cap Services subdivision. So those are single family lots, and the covenants there say that those lots have to be built on within 12 months. So we're hoping to see 13 new single family homes in the next 12 months. And then actually there's some interest in some of our lots in the Woodland Estates, or as some of you may know, the Swan Park subdivision as well. So we've seen an uptick in interest in housing. And we hope that continues, and we're working with those people that are interested and trying to get to the finish line. So those are kind of the key development updates.
All right, any questions on any of those reports? Anything else for the good of the meeting?
This is Alan. Move to adjourn.
Motion by Keelan,
Olson, second.
second by Olson, that we adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We're adjourned at 6:08 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Drive safe. Have a great night.